I just attempted to complete my January 31st 5K. I decided that I was going to, the last day of every month, run a 5K with the condition that I run as much as I can, but if I need to walk, I walk. I didn't get it. 5K is 3.1 miles. I did 2.3, 2.4, somewhere out there. I was doing all right up until about 1.75 miles or so. And then I started it started to really hit me. So I slowed way down. My pace was much better than I was expecting at the start, for that first 1.75 miles. Started slowing down, and I just decided I'm gonna call it a wash, because it's January. It's the start of the year. The whole reason I'm doing this is to track my progress through the year. And if I push myself and do something that isn't sustainable, then it's not going to matter, and it's going to skew everything for the rest of the year. So I might as well just do what I can, and then every time I do it for the rest of the year, I do what I can. And if that's 5K, great. If that's 10K, boom. Highly doubt that's ever going to happen, at least this year. But, whatever it is, that's what I'm going to do. Whatever I can handle maybe not 10K, because the point is to track my progress over 5K, but you get the point. I am a bit bummed that I didn't finish it, but at the same time, I also know my focus has been a bit more on just working on running, and I've been doing mostly just interval runs to get myself running. And I think this has shown me that I need to add in a little bit more. I need to do some more endurance, more distance work, just working on, instead of having a goal of, I'm going to run intervals, for X number of circuits. I think I'll do, intervals plus 2 miles, intervals plus 2.5 miles, and slowly add on each week or whatever. And then that way, the next time I go to run a 5K, I'm a little bit more used to going farther. Even if my pace is still slow, it's whatever. It's slow running is slow running. I'm still running. So it's definitely taught me something for, what I need to adapt in my training and what I need to work on. But I am doing my best to focus on the positives. It is a beautiful day. As you can see, I am in a tank top, and today is January 31st. I was born and raised and spent most of my life in Michigan. And to think that I am in a tank top on January 31st because I could not complete my run with my lightweight running jacket. It wasn't even a heavy jacket. It's just weird. It's throwing me off, but you can see how red my face is. And I finished my run at least 10 minutes ago, probably closer to 15, 20 minutes ago, because I stopped and I got my water bottle and I, did stretching and everything like that. But you can see my face is, yes, it's red from exertion, but I can only imagine how much worse it would be if I was layered up more than I already am. And I'm not really layered up. I just have leggings on and tank top, there's no extra layers beyond the basic requirements of going out in public. So I don't know, it's just weird to me, but it made for a really enjoyable run. So I'm not gonna complain too much. I'm not really complaining. I'm just saying it feels weird, but I'm very grateful. And it's not super sunny. It's quite overcast. So it's just bright, and that works perfectly for me. And so, getting out here, doing even just not even 2.5 miles that I did in the weather today has been fantastic. And I'm really glad I did it. And I'm feeling the soreness settling in. But for my first attempt at a 5K, I feel like I did a really good job. And it's definitely a good starting point. So I've got a ways to go, but honestly, I'm just doing it to work on doing things. You know, I want to be more active, and it's not necessarily that I want to run, you know, sub 3-hour marathons or whatever. I just want to be a runner. I want to get out. I want to run. I want to be healthy, not just for me, because that's important, but like, I want to be able to, you know, when we go on vacation, I want to be able to do a hike with my kids and not have to stop 5 times on a mile-long path. And I say those specific numbers because it happened just a couple years ago, not even, but, you know, it was really hard and frustrating for me to be somewhere really cool. We were in Arizona at the time, and the one I'm specifically thinking of, I think was Horseshoe Bend. So it's not, if you've ever been there, if you've ever seen it, I'll put up some pictures here. It was fantastic. It was beautiful, but there's a slight incline on the way to the viewpoint that we stopped. So coming back, there's a slight decline, whatever. It was going down a little bit on the way out, and then coming back, it was going up a little bit. And just that little bit was enough to just me. And I had to stop maybe 3 times, 2 or 3 times. You know, it more than that. But there was at least two like covered stop areas that we stopped at. And, you know, my boys, they didn't mind. You know, it wasn't something that upset them, but it upset me that, like, I felt like I was holding everyone up, and because it was me, my 2, and then my mom and my dad, my 3 siblings. I just felt like I was slowing everyone down, and they didn't care. They were reassuring me, they were encouraging me, and I really appreciate it. And at the time, that was like probably the only thing that kept me going, beyond the fact that I needed to keep going, otherwise I was stuck there because I was not, you know, close to the car. But that was one of the things that kind of set this whole thing off, was the feeling of frustration of like, I could have done so much more with them on that trip. We could have done so much more if I was able to physically do more. And I know it wasn't just reliant on me. Obviously, at the time, my kids were about 7 and 9, I think. Yeah. And, or almost 7. So, you know, it's not like we were going to be doing super long, like 5-10 mile hikes, but I really feel like I missed out on a lot because I couldn't do more. And I feel like there's a lot of times that, like, when it comes to planning a vacation, we plan simple, easy things because that's all I could do, you know. And now that the boys are getting older and more active, I want to be able to keep up with that. And as they grow, I want to be able to keep up with them and, you know, do all the fun, long, you know, go out, like, camping in the backcountry, like hike to a camping spot and, like, you know, carry our tent and our gear on our backs and do all that. I would love to do that with them now that they're getting older, and, you know, and then when they become adults and potentially have kids of their own, I would love to know that I have done the best I can when they were younger, and then I've continued to maintain it as they've grown, so that way if they ever have kids, or when my siblings have kids of their own, and, you know, we start having more kids growing in the family, I'm able to keep up with them, and I'm able to, you know, be the fun grandma, whatever I become. And saying grandma is weird because I'm not even 40 yet, so it's quite far out in the future. But, you know, just those are the goals. Those are things that I'm keeping in mind as I've been on this health journey. And now as I'm switching my focus to fitness a lot more, I don't necessarily want to be the fastest. I don't necessarily want to have huge, super visible muscles. Yeah, they're cool. Yeah, it would be great to, you know, run a decent pace, but, like, that's not why I'm doing this. And I'm just happy to be out here and enjoying the beautiful weather and moving. And I just ran 2-point-something miles in a half hour, or yeah, about half an hour. So I'm proud of myself. This is my starting point, and we'll go from here. But for now, I'm running out of time before the boys get out of school, so I am gonna have to go eat something and get ready to meet them at the bus stop. So just figured I'd share some thoughts after completing this and share my thoughts with you guys. And it's also a spot for me to come back to eventually and, remind myself when I get frustrated with my pace or my distance not matching up to what I think I should be at. And, making these videos is twofold. It's to share my journey, share my thoughts, and hopefully help others, but it's also a good reminder for me so that I can look back on it and be like, hey, when you're getting down, you're doing the thing, and this is why you're doing it. So it's a reminder for me and hopefully something to share for you. And I'm going to stop repeating myself because I think I just said the same thing about 3 times, so we're good. Yeah, I'm going to be cutting it off here. It's been a good week. I'm very grateful. And for now, that's all. Bye.
Hi, hello, and welcome to my chaos. This is a little bit delayed me filming face-to-face, but I wanted to do a quick recap video of how week 1 went, and we are now 3 days into week 2, so a little bit late on this, but hey, we're working on it, we're getting there. Before this part, I put some clips of, things that I did and little glimpses into my week 1. Honestly, when I was going through filming, I felt a little bit not discouraged, but for lack of a better word, we'll just go with discouraged, because I feel like I do the same thing day in and day out. It's very repetitive. Like, I get to the point where I don't want to film what I'm doing because, I just did it the day before. I just ate that meal the day before. Yes, I change things up, but at the same time, it does, for me at least, it feels very repetitive. And so then I wind up shoving the thought of filming to the side and I forget. And so I wound up with a lot less clips than I meant to. But hopefully it was okay for now. I am going to try to do better as the weeks go on. We're in week 2. I'm already, keeping a mental list of what more I can do and what changes I can make. So hopefully I do a little bit better for next week's vlog. For next week's vlog. Excuse me. But week 1 went okay. It wasn't the greatest. It honestly kind of was a stumbling block for me. I did hit most of my goals. There's a lot of the self-care things are kind of hard for me to remember because I'm not used to doing them. And so for me, it's really easy to just keep going with my basic routine of, just wash my face, brush my hair, I'm done, brush my teeth, whatever the basics are. So the extra face wash and the extra lotions that I got, I think I did them a couple times and it's just oh yeah, I'm supposed to be doing that. Oops. Or the pictures of myself. That was another thing. I did some, but it's definitely not as super of a start as I wanted to, but we started. We've got something, so there's room to grow. I do have a lot on my mind of my overall journey and the overall goals that I have for the year and things that I'm working on. And so I'm a little bit in my head today just thinking about all the things that I want to accomplish and, already critiquing, am I doing the right thing? Is this the right process? Are these the right goals for me at this point in time? Is this really going to help me build up these skills, build up this, endurance, and build up to the fitness level I want to be at? And it's a little silly because we're only 1 month into the year. I'm only 1 week into this challenge. Only 7, technically including today, we're 10 days into the challenge. So I'm barely into this. any of it, whatever metric you want to use, whether you're going off of my 75-day challenge or you're going off of the year. I'm barely into the year. This is way too early for me to be second guessing and for me to be making changes and saying, oh, it's not working. That's the thing. One of the things that I really struggled with in the past when I've tried losing weight is, I don't see that immediate success. I don't see the immediate changes. The scale is going up instead of going down, whatever the case may be. It makes it really discouraging to keep going. And I know I'm not alone. I've seen countless people talking or posting, whatever the case may be, whatever platform you're on. I've seen it brought up a lot. So I know it's not just me. I know it's something that everybody kind of has to go through. And you have to reach a point within yourself where you're comfortable with what you're doing and you're comfortable just taking it as it comes, taking one day at a time and sticking with it for an extended period of time. And going into 2025, going into this 75-day challenge also, my goal was, for the year goal, my goal was to stick with it for 3 months. I was breaking the year up into quarters. I'm changing that up a little bit because the 75 days will arc over, March and into April. So it'll be it'll be quarter one starting into quarter two. But overall, my goal is I want to stick with X number of things for quarter one, and then into quarter two, or at the end of quarter one, I'll reevaluate. I'll see what's been working, what hasn't been, and then I'll make changes into quarter two. And already I'm like, hey, it's February. Let's add in some more. To be fair, what I'm going to be adding in is some outdoor walks because I realized I need to work on building up my endurance. And yes, I've been getting in my steps every day, but most of that's just like I walk laps around the house. I just, do little things to get my steps every day. But I do really need to work on building up endurance of walking longer periods of time. So I am going to start adding in a walk or two every week, but I'm not necessarily upping my intensity too much. So little changes that I'm making coming into week 2. Adding in at least one walk, just depends on the weather, depends on how I'm feeling. I'm not going to make this a requirement. It's just something that I want to start doing. And I figure if I start making some changes slowly now, great. If not, I've got time. I'm working on things slowly. And if that means I see slow progress because, well, yes, I know that this is an area I need to work on, I'm focusing on other things as well at the moment. So we'll kind of see how that goes. I'm not going to add it to my goal list just yet. I'm not going to add it as a requirement. It's just an idea. Add in a walk or two outside for either a set distance or a set length of time. I'll go by how I'm feeling that day or how the weather is that day. But the other thing too is the 2 runs that I'm doing every week. I've been doing 2 interval runs because my thought was that'll work on my endurance and work on my pace. Because I'll be working on increasing how much I'm running, I thought that might help. I'm realizing it's probably not 100% the best thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do an interval run on Mondays, and on Fridays, I'm going to do a long run. And by long run, I don't mean the 10 mile, 15 mile, whatever that some endurance runners do. I'm not there yet. I am nowhere near ready for long runs. I'm thinking like maybe 2 miles, if that, maybe like 1.75 miles. So 1.75 miles, because on my run on Friday, I hit my wall right around 1.75 miles. Yes, I was doing a walk run combo, but I was able to run without having too many issues when I did run. And when I got to 1.75 miles, that's when running felt a little bit harder. So I figure my first long run this upcoming Friday, I'll set a goal of either that I'll stick with that 1.75 miles, do it again, or I'll increase it just a little bit. And then the next run, I'll increase it a little bit more. So every time I do a long run, it'll slowly get longer. And on these runs, I'm going to stick with the mindset of I'm going to run when I can and walk when I need. The goal is to run as much as possible, but if I need to walk, I'm going to walk. I'm still doing intervals, so I'm still working on running more. So carrying over that mindset into my long run, it's not going to be set, recorded intervals. I'm just going to be doing an open run on my watch and then run as much as I can. And I will go a certain distance, and that's my main focus. for right now, that's all I plan on changing, because I don't want to change too many things before I give it a chance to work. I want to actually let it work, and sometimes the scale won't move as quickly because you're working on, I'm adding in strength training, I'm increasing how much I'm running, because I'm adding in things that I wasn't consistently doing before. These are things that my body's going to have to adapt to and have to get used to. The scale may not reflect that quite as quickly. And like I said in my last video, my focus is a little more towards recomp this year and not so much just the fat loss. So while yes, I do still have a significant amount of weight to lose, well, significant to me, I'm going to kind of play it by ear. That's a whole other video. But while I still have weight to lose, I also do want to focus on building up that endurance, on building up my fitness levels, on, lifting weights and strength training, stuff like that. Lifting weights and strength training are the same thing. Hello, it's been a morning. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. I hope I recapped my week decently enough with video clips. I'm sorry there's not more little clips throughout my week. I will do better trying to, share some meal prepping that I'm doing this week, some, actual cooking, some out and about with the kids, stuff like that. I'm going to try to include little clips of a little more life stuff, not just my fitness things, and see if I can branch out on how many clips I'm doing, as well as maybe do some more face-to-face throughout the week. So that way it's not just 1 or 2 clips of me just sitting there talking to the camera and doing this big long spiel. I'm working on it. I will continue trying to do better. But for now, that is all. We're going to wrap up my week 1 discussion here. And thank you so much for being here. I look forward to chatting with you again and sharing some more. I have a couple ideas for videos maybe this week, but we'll see if I can get my brain to cooperate with me, because I've been a little bit in my head of like, oh, you look so awkward on camera and you feel weird, and it makes me second guess and sitting down in front of the camera and doing a little chat. So I'm going to do my best to get out at least 1 other video this week. We will see. Otherwise, I will see you here next week for my week 2 recap. Thanks so much for watching.